Hi guys, Sarah the Northwoods Stitcher here. I have done a couple of little videos that I'm about to show you. One is how to hand sew a little pillow. You know, something this size or a little bit bigger. You can do it by hand without using the machine. And I wanted to show you how I did this method. So I'm going to show you that. And then I also put together a bell pull by hand, which took some time, but it was worth doing for a number of reasons. Main reason is I can't sew a straight line on a sewing machine yet. I'm trying, but you know, I'm still too new to it. So I filmed that. And then after I do those little segments, I show you some finishes that I got accomplished this past weekend or weekend before this past weekend. And then we will do some show-offs. So stay tuned. So this is a piece of scrap that I have that's going to be on the back. Badly wrinkled. So I'm going to take my little craft iron. It's just a palm iron that I have on that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to iron it on my wool mat that I have up in my craft room. Now, I'm going to mention this later, but I did cut this too small. Should have been bigger. We're going to stitch the fabric face together with the front of the cross stitch. So that's the back of the fabric. That's the back of the cross stitch. So the two faces are sandwiched together. Okay, I think I've got my supplies here to show you guys how to hand sew and make your own little pillows. Remember, that's the back of the fabric. This is the proper side of the fabric. We're going to put these face to face. And now we're simply just going to stitch all the way around. And what's so wonderful is I did this on Ada, so I'm just going to follow the holes. Now I'm going to count the holes from the edge of the actual design to make sure that they are somewhat even. I may have more at the top and more at the bottom than I do on the sides because I didn't leave myself much fabric here, unfortunately. I'm just going to capture it with a loop method. If it's easier for you, just pin it together. I just kind of hold mine because this one's so small. You can find the holes easier by keeping your fingers close to the hole that you're wanting to come up from. So I should stop here and explain. I'm relatively new to sewing in general. So if I were doing this again, you see I don't have much space here. And I certainly don't have much space here. When you're cutting this backing fabric, I would leave a lot more excess because you can always stitch it and then cut off what you want to make the pillow easier to tuck in. So I cut mine a little too small. Don't do what I did. Oh, that's close. I hope this works. This is not the best example, but you guys will get the idea. Now, this is an Ada cloth, so I didn't put a backing on this. If I was going to use like a lizard litter, so it's got that beanbag fill in it, I would have put a backing on this, but it would make it harder to show you how to hand stitch it. So this is just going to be a polyfill. And I'm going to double count my spaces here. Okay, so we have stitched completely around, sealing it. Let me just tie this off. Now comes the tricky part. So we're going to go to the back. I'm going to try to find the center, best to my abilities, and I need to make sure that I separate them. See how I've pulled it apart? Last thing you want to do is when you're cutting through the back is to cut your cross stitch. So you make sure you give it a good tug to find a pocket that you can stick the scissors in. And we're just going to make a little snip. That's pretty much the center. And then I actually make like a little plus cut on the back. Try to keep it as small as possible because I need to sew this up after I stuff it. Now, all I'm going to do is try to flip everything right side. Well, maybe I should try to trim any corners I might have. Makes it a little bit easier. Oh, messy, 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 messy. Okay, let's try flipping it now. Doesn't look like much, does it? It's coming. Isn't that great? So now I'm going to use something to poke the edges out with. Hopefully find something in my husband's office here that isn't too sharp. Not too crazy about this little stitch. I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe hang a gourd pin with a snowflake or something to maybe show what it is. I didn't do this very well, or the pattern wasn't very good to me. So I'm gonna go stuff this, and then we'll stitch up the back, and then we'll put a patch on the back, whether a felt patch or another fabric patch. The next step's coming. Okay, I keep extra pieces of like cotton batting that I've used in my polyfill, because I'll use that to stuff it. When you're stuffing, keep checking the front. I don't like how it's bunching down here, so I need some more fill in here. It always takes way more than I think it's going to. Oh, that's looking much better. I'm kind of pushing it into the corners. What's up, baby girl? Hey, watch your tail. This end seems pointier than this one. I'm, by no means an expert at this, but this is just a tutorial on how to do it. You guys can figure out the edges or the corners. I think I need to round them a little bit more, but I'm learning. I'm just poking my finger up into those corners. You can use a tool. I always prefer my finger because then I can feel how much is getting in those corners. I'm happy with how poofy it is. So now I'm going to concentrate on pulling out the edges with my little plus sign. I'm going to sew those shut. And a surgeon I am not, so these suture marks are not going to be pretty. And there is some tugging involved. That already broke the fabric there, so maybe I'll go across first. It doesn't matter how ugly this looks because we're going to cover it with a patch. Oh, goodness. Abby's been a little bit stressed today because of the snow coming off the roof. She does not like that noise. We have a metal roof, so it's a bit loud. Isn't that right, Abs? Abby does not bark. She's very, very quiet. The only time we've heard her let out a noise is overexcitement, or if Stuart has bit her, which he did when he was a kitten, because I think he was learning his own bite strength and things. Plus, you know, he's learning impulse control, which is hard on a cat. So he's bitten her a few times to the point where she's, you know, screamed. And of course we come to her rescue. And our correction word is gentle. See, I'm not even pulling this completely shut. I probably should, but this fabric backing is a bit weak. I probably should have doubled this up. Well, I think this will be a good closure. Your goal is to really make sure that you keep it as flat as possible, because when you glue something on the back, you don't want the patch to bulge, because you left a mound of stitches in one area but not another. I'm simply going to tie this one off. I'm not going to keep tugging on this. And my thread's getting short. Sorry, I keep pulling this out of the frame. Okay. You guys see there? Alright, so I've picked out a little patch. Sometimes I stitch my initials and the year in it. And it's going to cover that up nicely. I'm simply going to glue it to the back, but you can embroider your initials and the year that you stitched it, and you can even put a cute little stitch around the edge before you place it. So let's get out the glue. I'm just using Aleene's tacky glue. I'm going to put the glue on the patch rather than the pillow. Now, I like to just press the glue up towards the edges. Ooh, I got a glue booger there. You can always put some fray away on the edge of your patch, or you can just tuck it back into the glue. So this is nice and damp right now. That's gonna dry solid. And now for the front, let's see what I got in my box of treasures. I have treasures. So I have a big snowflake. Let's see if I have some little snowflakes. Oh, that's kind of cute. I got glue on me still. A ribbon on my pants. That's a cute snowflake. Oops. So here are my choices that I'm choosing right now. Oh, that one's awful pretty too. I guess I have to determine what can be understood from a distance, right? What can be seen. I kind of like all of those. I think I like this one because it's got a long piece to it. Oh, but that's pretty easy to see. Let's see what it looks like. I don't want to make multiple holes in this. I'm trying to follow the hole that Ada gives me. I think that's cute. You can certainly see that from a distance. Great, so that's that one. I don't know what kind of storage box this is. I'm not crazy about these types of boxes because this has a plastic hinge, solid plastic hinge, which of course breaks the more you open it and go into it. But it has nice little compartments in it, and I keep a variety and bunch of different seasonal charms in here. Oh, it looks like I have two lighthouses. Looks like I have to start making a nautical collection because I have anchors, I have a lobster, I have a crab, I have lighthouses, and then underneath here I also keep some zipper pulls. I have, these are the death head moths that I ordered to finish my husband's stitch, which I can use for Halloween, of course. I think those are pretty cool. Or they'd make great zipper pulls on Halloween bags. I'm almost to the point where I need to separate these into seasons. Some great keys. in some years. I'll put all my snowflakes back. Now these, I have to say, these have all been, the majority of these have been bought from Temu because they've got a great collection. I think one of my favorites are these little acorns. Aren't they sweet? I have some fall stitches for that. I even have teeny tiny silver ones. And I have some gold acorns. I have another box of charms upstairs, but I knew this one had snowflakes in it. Okay, next project I wanted to show you. I'm not quite sure how I'm finishing this. This is my little permarin, however you say it, bell pull. I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing in the shot. I did this in 24. It is signed. And I just kind of counted from the last stitch how many spaces over. And then I just kind of clipped it to make it, force it into shape. And I've left it for a few days. And I've just been trying to think of, what do I do now? How do I finish this? I don't know anything about bell pulls. So I've been letting the stitch talk to me. And I think what I figured out is I will seal it or stitch it shut with some white floss. So I'm going to stitch along the edge, hand stitch along the edge. I guess you could do this on a machine. I don't know, again, I'm just trying to let it talk to me and tell me what it needs. And then I have some green felt, which I know is a bit bold for this one. I would have liked a lighter color green, but I needed a big piece of felt that would be long enough to cover this whole back. And this is what I have. I have almost like a yard of this. So I thought this would be really good to put on the back. Once I finish it and figure out what its shape's gonna be, because I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the end, maybe fold it into a triangle. Then I can cut a piece of felt and glue it. So let's stay tuned for that. So no real science to this. I haven't measured or anything. I've just kind of folded and clipped to like make it shape. I did clip some off the end here. I'm not quite sure how to deal with this lumpiness. Because if I cover it with felt, it is going to have a bump at the top and a bump at the bottom. But I think this is going to be okay. I could just not cover the back. I don't know, we'll have to see. But I think I like it from the top. And I like the length of the bottom. So I think I'm still going to hand sew this. And then I'm not sure how to seal this. I might try just a couple of dabs of glue where there is cross stitch, but not in between. You know what I mean? So on a dot of glue on the back, dot of glue on the back, just to keep that from moving. And I don't quite know why it's puckering. But this is my thought process. We'll see. And I'm not sure, do I start from the top or do I start from the bottom? I think what I'm going to do is just hold these in place while I make sure that I'm happy with the bottom here. Maybe what I need to do is to cut off some more of this excess fabric and just have a small seam going up so this is less bumpy. But then I can't get this point right if I do that. Because I really like having this tucked in. I think I'm going to leave it, you guys. Just stitch it shut. I can certainly cut off some hair. Those of you who sew are probably screaming at the TV right now. Don't do it! Don't! I think if I just do that stitch, that'll be fine. And it is less bumpy. And I am not one to fuss over the back of my projects. Nobody's looking at my back. Yeah, I like how that tapers. I think that's good. All right, I'm gonna start stitching. Wish me luck. I'm gonna use short pieces of floss. So it doesn't tangle so much. And this was done on a Monaco. Pretty sure it's Monaco. It might be Lugana. And I have holes to follow. Ooh, this is tight. Come on. I'm probably going to break a thread. This is working fine. I think that's going to be great. Oops, I did not follow the holes on that one. And I am going to be picky, so I want to pull that out. So I am doing 2 over 2, and I'm going diagonally along the holes. I think I'm going to take my glasses off to see this a little bit better. White on white is not my favorite. I was just 1 hole over. That's perfect. I think I can go down 1 more. And then I'll start coming up the other side. Do you see how that's coming? White on white. No, you can't see it. So if I start going up this way, yeah, I think that's enough space. I'm of course working on the hardest part first because this is the thickest. I don't know about you guys, but the actual finishing something rather than just stitching it, right? This part is not my favorite. And you definitely have to be in the mood. And this project has been sitting on my table for a while because I just had to let it speak to me or tell me how to finish it, and then take each step or each idea that I've had just one day at a time. or one step at a time. Oh, I'm having trouble finding this hole. I'm having trouble getting the needle through. Maybe if I turn it this way. So I need to come up. Come on, I need to come up this hole. There we go. I need to be over one more. There we go. So by counting the holes, I've actually got some pretty uniform stitches in here right now. Perfect. I think once I get to the sides, it'll go a lot faster. That's what I hope. All right. So this is going to stay. That's not going to go anywhere. Now I'm working on the sides, which should go a lot faster because it is not as thick. I'm still going to go over 2. So my stitches will look even. It's just so hard to see white on white. It's not what I enjoy doing. All right, let me pull back and see. I like those. I do. Those are coming out nice. Maybe I can clip this a little bit or put some fray away on it so it doesn't show in the front. I think it's going to be fine once it's done. All right, I'm going to pause this, do some stitching, and come back. And so I've stitched up to the second bird, and my thread's getting short, and I'm just going to finish this off by tucking it under the existing stitches on the back, not making any knots. It's not like it's going to go anywhere. I mean, look how much I'm tucking under. Oh, that's plenty enough. Okay. Didn't film the stitching part because it was just so boring to watch me stitching white on white. But as I'm getting to the top here, it's getting more and more difficult to push through all those layers of cloth. So I think I'm going to leave a gap here. It's actually the last stitch lines up with this last stitch here. And I'm going to continue up on the side and match that stitch. So it'll be just about even, so the eye won't catch any discrepancies. But in the back, now this is tacked down here, but I'm going to whip stitch this, I think, just so that it doesn't have a flap here. Maybe I'll just stitch it here, but I'm going to finish it off that way, I think. All right, guys, it's done. Now, I'm really liking how this came out. Oh, there's a cat hair on it. I'm not sure now if I'm going to finish the back. I've done a little tack down here by tucking it under some of the existing fabric. I have not glued this. I don't think I'm going to. And I don't think I'm going to add the felt because I think it's heavy enough and I think it'll lay flat enough. I might just hang it up on the wall and see how it behaves. But rather than keep adding thickness to this and heft, I think it's fine the way it is. I think I'm along the same line at the top where I ended. I don't think I will put in a above border stitch or a top border stitch here. and my ability to put a felt thing on and whip stitch it, my whip stitch abilities are non-existent. I can't do anything even to save my life. So I really want to keep this as plain as possible and as trim looking as possible. If I do the felt, I will glue it to the back, and I would put the felt on the back shorter width and a shorter width of felt than the actual design, so the felt would not show from the front, if that makes sense. I just wanted to show you that you can do your finishes with hand stitching. It does take a little longer, and you could do this on a sewing machine, but I can't sew a straight line yet, and I really wanted this to have a straight line because it is that kind of geometrical design, and I didn't want anything showing. It is signed and dated at the bottom. And let me go get some more finishes to show you before we go do some show-offs. I've got some finishes. So over this previous weekend, we had some cold weather. We had some warm weather. It was warm enough to like wash the car. It was 40 degrees. I guess this was weekend before last. And then all of a sudden it like dipped into the single digits. It was brutally cold. So I got to sit around and stitch because I don't really go out and do errands in that weather. So I finished Teresa Kogut's Snow Penny. Look, I did the border. I'm so excited. Now it's a little stretched out because it's still in my Q-snap, but now I'm going to take it upstairs and put it in my finish pile. Looks like I have quite a bit of extra fabric here, so I'm going to see what I can save this for, maybe a small ornament. But I was able to do all of these little border circles and tabs, and then I signed it at the very bottom with a single strand, so it's not so noticeable. But since it takes me a while to put things in a frame, I thought it best that I sign it. A couple times I've done something and I said, oh, I'll put it on the back, and then I forget what year I did it. So that's a finish. I'm really excited about it. That was done on the called for fabric, by the way. Another cute little finish I did. Now this was a freebie. The chart's right underneath the stitch. This was a freebie on Colorado cross stitcher called Rhythm of the Needle. And I have done this before, and I did it over 2. This one I did over 1. So I did 1 strand over 1 on a 28 count and a 28 count Lugana. Pretty sure it's the Lugana. But this was just a scrap that I had laying around the craft room, and I like it so much I might do a 3rd, but this is like half the size of the one that I have. And it's just a sweet little stitch. This was put out in 2023. I'm not sure if it's still on the website, but it was ColoradoCrossStitcher.com. If you guys want to see if you can find Rhythm of the Needle. It's a really sweet stitch. And I have this in a placemat. I got a single placemat probably at my dump house. There was no partner to it, or perhaps the other piece was badly stained. So I just folded the placemat over and stitched it shut and put a zipper in it. And it's perfect for my little ornaments. The 3rd finish that I was able to accomplish is the tiny Modernist Stitch and Be Merry. And this was a lot of fun. I did this on an overdyed tea and coffee 18 count Ada that I did myself. And the flosses listed in this chart are Vivaldi and DMC. Now, I wasn't so keen on some of the DMCs, but I did switch out the called for 666 and used a DMC 115 for the center and the spools and bobbin. And then I wasn't too happy how the white was just blending right in. I couldn't see it very well. You can even see in the picture they kind of wash out. So I didn't bother stitching the berries at the bottom, but I did do the buttons as well as the bobbin in a light gray just a sewing thread. So it was the thinnest thread that I could find. I felt that if it was a DMC thread, oh, and I also did the needle. I felt if it was a DMC thread, it might be too thick. And then I chose a darker aqua to do the aqua buttons. And I really think it helped make it pop a bit. So I'm excited to get this framed or maybe into a little pillow. It looks like it's like a 4x6 on an 18 count. 5. It's like a 5x3.5 really. Let's call it a 5x4. But if I can find some great fabric, I might just put this into a little pillow. Again, I'm going to take it upstairs, pop it off the Q-snap, and put it in my finished pile until it talks to me. All right, let's go do some show-offs. So I have a whole bunch of show-offs. I hope I get them in order. I hope I get the information right. If I'm missing anything while I'm editing, I'll put it along the bottom of the screen so you guys can have some more information on the project you're looking at. But I wanted to show you, let's do the first one so I don't forget it. So Esther's at it again. She sent me her Easter and St. Patrick's Day, well, spring and St. Patrick's Day display that she's put up. So I love this spring type of shelf that she has with all things gardening on it. I did just watch Marcy over at Amnicon Studio. She's been playing in her greenhouse and getting dirty. So it really made me itchy to want to look at what seeds I have. We've started talking about what we're going to plant this year. Sometimes it's a last minute decision because our window for growing in Maine is pretty short and it's a quick season. And for us, because we're in between camp and our main residence, sometimes that's hard to plan out because we have a watering system and we can only plant with that watering system, self-watering system, timed watering system. We can only plant what that system can reach because if we're not here, we can't risk it dying over a 4-day period of drought that we have and extreme heat. But this is really cute. And she didn't send me what it is, what the stitch name is. Oh, she did do it. This is a Dimensions, a leaflet, it looks like, called I Love Gardening. And I really like that she put this in a white frame. It helps pop the colors. It's really a cute stitch. And then she sent this wonderful shelf. Now, I know I have one of these rabbits, but I love the frames that she put them in. It's almost like a rustic barnwood. And then that piece in the background, it looks like she added some fabric to it as well. That's really cute. Coming down a trail. And here it is all tied together. She's got some pillows and a little, I guess you would call it a shelf, stepping shelf with different bunnies and toys on it. She's got a pulling rabbit on it too. One of the pull strings. String toys, whatever we call it. Really nice stuff. And then this beautiful kite day with some St. Patty's Day bears in the bowl below. Really pretty. I love how she did that. Absolutely gorgeous, Esther. Makes me want to stitch some more St. Patty's Day and Easter. I think I might be kitting some up. I'm going to be late in the season though, so I'll probably be stitching them in summer for next year. But at least I'll start them. I do have a Mill Hill pulled out. My friend Kathy sent it to me and she said, oh, I love this one. And I realized I had the same one. So I pulled it out and said, well, let's do it. She said, I've already done mine. So I don't know where my motivation is now, but I might try to get it done. I'll try to put a picture of it up in here. I've pulled the Mill Hill out. So I'm kind of just carrying it around until it strikes me to do it. But those were lovely. This next one is huge. This one was sent in by Laura. She sent in Savior's Praise. I keep wanting to say Stitcher's Praise. Savior's Praise. It's by Kitten Stitcher. And she did this on a 14 count. Isn't this incredible? It's massive. And I love how it's framed up close to the border of where that stitch ended. She did this on a 14 count Ada with all DMC. She made a few changes, but not many. It's amazing. I have not seen that one before, but it's incredible. And here's where she placed it in her house, just a perspective for you to see how actually huge it is. It's massive. What an amazing, amazing stitch. I just recorded a whole bunch of stuff and it wasn't recording. Thought I was recording a bunch of stuff, let me say that. So my next group of photos are from Lynn S. Take 2. She did some incredible stuff. She took a picture of her home. Now, I don't know if you remember, but she does finishes with a brass plate mounted to the front of the frame with the detailed information in it. She asked me to remove those plates because I think some of them had her full name as well as her address, because this one is a picture of her house. She stitched this. Isn't this incredible? So she sent in a photo to an Etsy place that converts into charts. And she did this on a hand-dyed mottled blue 14 count Ada. It is a full coverage and she used DMC. It's just an incredible piece. Really nice. You can't even see where I took off the brass plate. My editing skills are getting better. The next one she sent in was Love. Now this is by Praiseworthy Stitches Simple Gift. She stitched this with Weeks Dye Works and a hand-dyed mottled pale pink 14 count Ada. I can't even tell this is pink. It must be one of those light blush. It's really striking. Really makes me want to get back to my summer Quaker. I think this is an adorable stitch, and I think I would really enjoy stitching some Quaker pieces. The next one that she sent in was Courage. This is also a Praiseworthy Stitches Simple Gift. Now this is stitched with Weeks Dye Works. She did this on a hand-dyed, mottled light blue 14 count Ada. Isn't it wonderful? And I love the choice of frame that she chose. I think when you're doing Quakers, it's important that you don't overthink the frame. This is a nice wide frame. She's left enough of that white border so it looks matted. And it's just elegant. Very, very nice. Thanks, Lynn, for sending those in. Now, I know I have some more in here. I've got to find them. Hopefully I can remember. What I did was I downloaded some photos and I forgot to write them down in my notes. So let me go see who to give credit to. We need to blame Margaret for these. All right, let me get on this. Okay, I jotted down notes so I can look at the photos with you. I wanted to show you Margaret's Lily. Now, this is going to be an entry into her fair. And I love Lily. Lily has eyelashes, but there's a lot going on in here that she changed up. This is, of course, an Animal Crackers by Stacy Nash. She did this on a 16 count doubloon, all called for Weeks Dye Works, but she added green beads on Lily's skin and toes for frog warts, and she gave her red lips, and let's not forget the eyelashes, and a star choker. And the spool is more custom because it's actually the theme of the fair that she's being entered in. What a wonderful finish. The next one she showed this is Spirit of America. Now this is by Brooke, Nolan. This is done on a 14 count brown perforated paper. She made this into a stand-up by stitching a skirt on the back. And now that poofed it out so she can actually stand this up by itself. And she felted the top part so it had a more finished look to it. Now this next one, love how this frame ties in with the cross stitch. This is Strawberry Fields Forever by Barbara Adams. Now she stitched this on a week's dye work, 18 count, Confederate gray, and used all called for DMC. And this frame she found at Michael's on clearance. How's that for an incredible lacy frame? I was really impressed with this. I can't remember if I have this pattern or not, but I really do like it. I wonder if I had it and gifted it or if it's lost in my pile of things to do. Now the last one she sent in, this is Christmas Fairies by Tinsel Cross Stitch. She did this on an 18 count haunted, used called for DMC, except for in the hair and, all called for DMC except for the hair, and then used etoile on the ornaments and the dresses. Really amazing. I love that she sent these close-ups. I didn't have to do the zooms. Really sweet. And this frame is adorable too. Incredible. Thank you, Margaret, for sending that. I could stare at that for a long time. I'm really fascinated too how that mat is matching almost the color of the fabric. It's really stunning. Don't see where she signed it, do you? Must be well hidden. Hopefully you signed the back. So I think that's it for my show-offs. I'm going to look at my photos really quickly. I was a little discombobulated this week. I spent a lot of time stitching. And I don't want to forget anybody. Yeah, I think that's it. I have to say I've been very well behaved. I haven't been buying anything online as far as like stitching stash. I bought a couple of things that I need to play around with before I show because I'm really not sure where my head's going with how I'm going to utilize them up here in the craft room or whether or not I have the space for it. So stay tuned for some confessions in the next video. You guys have a great rest of your week. Happy stitching and be safe. That's the outhouse I was showing you. So I don't know if you can see. Maybe we'll see it better from the upstairs. But you can see that pile of dirt and that pile of dirt. That is, we had somebody come out and do our perk test to see if we can put in a septic so that we can add the bathroom. Okay, so let's go upstairs. There's no electricity up here at all. We haven't even started running wires up here. The steps are kind of steep, but they're beautiful. Okay, so this flooring is not real hardwood floor. I wish it was. Time for bed, sweetie.